Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So I wanted to take some time, guys, mention this coming from Martin Valk here. I need your help. Twitter, he is launching a crypto swag site and would appreciate if you guys spread the word. The website is bullishcrypto.com. I'm going to link this tweet in the description of this video, and I am also going to retweet this if you guys are interested in some bullish crypto paraphernalia here. So here's the website. I've got it up here. You can get an XRP hat. Up here, I saw an XRP duffel bag, which is pretty cool. And all kinds of coins, right? Cardano, Dogecoin, Uniswap, Zilliqa, Bitcoin, of course, Binance Coin, Bitcoin Cash. So all kinds of different types of merchandise that you can get here. I wouldn't usually do this, but I like Martin. He's a great guy, a critical thinker, and an asset to the XRP community. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time just to mention that. So did you guys see this? Brad Garlinghouse tweeting this out. My main takeaway from this, what's he referring to? Apparently there was an article that was co-authored by Jay Clayton in the Wall Street Journal just recently. And Brad retweets out the article. It is linked here in this tweet thread. I'm going to get to Brad's opinion on this. Basically, that article, the full article at least, is only available if you do have a subscription to the website. But here are the basic takeaways. Former SEC Chair Jay Clayton and former Undersecretary of the Treasury Brent McIntosh co-wrote an opinion article for the Wall Street Journal where they explain that the cryptocurrency market can be governed using existing financial regulation. The op-ed was titled Crypto Needs Regulation, but it doesn't need new rules. The two question Treasury Secretary Yellen's suggestions that the U.S. framework isn't up to the task of regulating cryptocurrencies. Instead, they said that the core ideas in the U.S.'s existing regulatory framework are enough to guide the market. Clayton and McIntosh note that there's a risk of both over-regulation and under-regulation in the budding industry. Here's a quote: policymakers would be wise to ground their efforts in the principal objectives underpinning existing financial regulations, financial stability, deep and efficient funding markets across the spectrum of debt and equity, and the prevention of fraud and illicit activity. So basically, Janet Yellen's saying, you know what, we need some kind of new framework to kind of guide this new and emerging cryptocurrency asset. You know, we've heard Gary Gensler talk about something similar. He's talked about the idea that cryptocurrency exchanges lack market regulation and there's no protection around fraud or manipulation. But Jay Clayton and Brent McIntosh are saying, no, we got some great rules here in the United States. We just have to use them correctly. Isn't it funny that Jay Clayton comes out saying this when, Janet Yellen, Gary Gensler, a new administration basically coming in and saying, no, we are going to revamp the whole thing. We're going to start from scratch. We need a body that can regulate cryptocurrencies because they're not like traditional securities of the 1920s or 1930s. And, with an emerging asset class, we need a new set of rules. Curious and somewhat suspicious that Jay Clayton is saying, no, look, the rules we got are okay. Which leads me to believe even further that he has a vested interest in other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum that have already passed regulatory hurdles in the United States. And so he probably doesn't want to see the framework or at least the current rules that already exist. He doesn't want to see that disrupted just because of that, just because of his vested interest. So this op-ed piece came out, and of course I'm just speculating about that part, but this op-ed piece came out and Brad Garlinghouse had something to say. He said, my main takeaway from this, Jay Clayton is joining the chorus of voices saying there is and has been a lack of regulatory clarity for crypto, and that stifles innovation here in the US. Definitely ironic, but better late than never. Brad goes on to say, cryptos, like nearly any new innovative technology, can be used for good or bad purposes. The problem is that U.S. companies seeking to be compliant and use this tech for good are left in limbo, or for Ripple, worse, because of the lack of clear, predictable framework. My favorite quote from the article: we must also keep in mind the default rule in the American system. Innovation is welcome, absent from legal reason to oppose it. Words to live by. So Brad Garlinghouse chiming in on this. Clearly, he is not commenting on Jay Clayton's perhaps potential conflict of interest with regards to other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. So with regards to more cryptocurrencies, I wanted to bring this up, guys, from BondCryptXRP here on Twitter, posting this article with regards to Vechain and how they're looking to partner with Chinese government to expand their blockchain. So it's interesting because a lot of these companies, came in to this cryptocurrency space. and they said, okay, look, we've got a company, we've got a coin, we want to solve a problem. And, with cryptocurrency companies, eventually they develop over time. And I think with what's going on in the market today and, with cryptocurrencies just gaining more and more popularity, these companies are realizing, you know what, we can't just sit on our laurels. We've got to continue innovating. We've got to continue moving. And so, trying to focus on new verticals as some companies are doing, as we've heard Ripple wanting to do. Well, here's what Vechain is trying to do. Some of the takeaways here. Officials from 3 main Chinese districts visited Vechain's Singapore office to facilitate a partnership. VET says that it is committed to serving the community, enterprises, and the government to foster blockchain growth. And China has fully embraced blockchain technology, but is still against cryptocurrency. So we know about that narrative. We know China has definitely been putting the halt on Bitcoin, and miners are now fleeing China. But the government isn't saying that we are banning cryptocurrencies altogether. It's no secret that China has prioritized blockchain technology and the launch of its central bank digital currency. However, the country is firmly against the growth of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies due to their highly perceived risk. Well, Vechain is coming in and they're saying, look, we are a company that wants to serve the community. I almost see Vechain as like the Ripple of China in a lot of ways. They have a focus. They're doing really well with the focus that they have at the moment, but they're willing to expand. They're willing to, work with government and find new ways to make the economy, make certain processes better by using blockchain technology. So the company stated that it is ready to serve enterprises, the government, and the community more. Based on the report, the officials expressed their belief that blockchain technology has a major role to play in the future of the digital economy. The officials also expressed their admiration for the technology and confirmed Vechain's technology business development direction. So I thought that was some good news from the Vechain camp. Wanted to thank BondCrypt XRP for posting that. And so as the world continues to innovate, we are seeing that there is more and more reason for blockchains to become interoperable. And I've noticed this, guys, at least today, this trend on Twitter where, a lot of people on Twitter in the crypto space are talking about interoperability. And I'm going to talk about some of these and discuss why this is so good for Ripple and XRP. Guys, this is from Matthew LANY here on Twitter. Interoperability, the new North Star of the financial market blockchain. So he's just posting this article here from Finextra, basically talking about blockchain technology in general and the idea that interoperability is going to be the future. After nearly 5 years of experimentation, blockchain has reached an important milestone in financial services. This year, several distributed ledger technology platforms are either running live or preparing to launch. As the industry starts to transition from its initial stage of research and development to a new phase of operations and growth, it's time for market participants and technology providers to turn their attention to what comes next, the full integration of blockchain-based systems into the broader financial market infrastructure. So this article goes on into some history with regards to DLT and blockchain technology. I'm just going to start up here again. By 2019, several promising targets had emerged, and sell-side firms and technology providers began developing use cases for DLT. As a rule, these use cases were narrow in scope, with each aimed at addressing a single function or market pain point. So, for example, Ripple focused on cross-border payments, and they have solved that problem with distributed ledger technology. The winners from those use case trials are now going live. This article goes on to say, among these early market entities are focused on the equity clearing and settlement areas and the securities lending markets. The latter group includes the distributed ledger repo platform developed by my own firm, Broadridge, which is scheduled to go live in June. The launch of these platforms marks the beginning of a new stage in the evolution of financial market blockchain. In the months ahead, these systems will compete with existing platforms and providers for business in essential functions like clearing, settlement, and securities lending and repo. So this article goes on a little bit longer. I will link this in the description if you want to read further. But ultimately, the big point here, guys, interoperability, blockchain technology in the financial sector, all very interconnected with a company that we already know has been trialing this, has been utilizing DLT worldwide. The SEC has its thumb on Ripple right now in court with this lawsuit, but it's good to note that this is where it's going, interoperability, a prime focus, and I'm going to point to some more evidence regarding that as well. One of the big platforms providing interoperability is the Flare network, and I just recently saw this from Tim Rowley here on Twitter. Has anyone else noticed Flare network has updated their website? Of course, we are all waiting for our Spark airdrop, and I'm guessing that the Flare networks is really trying to kind of up their image, up their brand to kind of be ready for the launch. So here's the new Flare network's website. You guys can see some flashy graphics here, F assets, including, what are some of the F assets? Well, XRP #1 here on the list. They've got Litecoin, Dogecoin, and Stellar, so you guys can scroll through that. A lot of interesting little tidbits of information here. Flare Time Series Oracle, the FTSO, provides externally sourced data estimates to the Flare network in a decentralized manner. It does so by leveraging the distributed nature of the network and its participants. So some more information there, introducing Flare. And again, guys, I will link this in the description if you want to peruse at your leisure. Now, last week I also did a video with regards to David Schwartz discussing this idea of federated sidechains, and I'll link that video up here if you guys didn't catch it. Well, he's gone into more detail about this, and so this article here just from Cointelegraph, Ripple's developers have been engaging with feedback and suggestions that they expand the XRP ledger, or XRPL, to integrate functionalities such as smart contracts, for example. The latter have become a major feature of the booming decentralized finance space, but Ripple's creators claim that a different solution is better for the payments-focused XRPL. And so what are they suggesting? Something called federated sidechains, i.e. parallel ledgers that can support developers' experimentation and specialized interest, whether for DeFi or other use cases. Using sidechains can leave the main XRPL streamlined and efficient while expanding the functionality of the wider XRP ecosystem by offering interoperability for native smart contracts and other features. So not only is the XRPL interoperable, even just for that one focus that Ripple has had for quite a while now, cross-border payments, they want to now introduce federated sidechains that can perform different applications and that are open source. So you could start, if you are technologically savvy, you could start a new project on a federated sidechain and you can leverage the power, basically leverage the power of the XRPL without having to disrupt its main focus, which right now is cross-border payments. I think the key, though, is the interoperability. So to facilitate this interoperability, Ripple's creators are proposing a piece of federator software connected to one end of the XRPL mainnet and on the other to one or more sidechains. Each of these functions has their own blockchain, but they use XRP as their main asset. Moreover, the federation system supports the transfer of XRP and issues tokens between them and the main ledger. So for those of you guys who want to read more, this is the post that David Schwartz did post on the Ripple X website, and he essentially goes into just that, just what I was describing there. Interesting to note here that DeFi developers have grown by 110% since the year 2019. So Ripple is clearly seeing that there is a need for this, that there is demand for this. And, through the Ripple X initiative, we are seeing more developments on the XRPL, federated sidechains just being one of them. So again, federated sidechains for the XRP ledger. This will enable developers to implement new features such as native smart contracts and interoperate seamlessly with XRP and the XRP ledger. Interoperate, guys, or interoperability, definitely the buzzword of this video. So in David Schwartz's words, federated sidechains allow the experimentation and specialization so developers can enjoy the power of the XRPL on a sidechain, and that acts as its own blockchain. For example, imagine the potential to branch out into new functionality by slimming down the XRPL's features to a specific subset for a particular use case, or even creating a private parallel network for a permissioned blockchain. Federated sidechains could very well make this a reality. And so, this idea of a private parallel network, we've heard about this private ledger that Ripple was working on, likely to be able to perhaps leverage more banking clients. Of course, banks do not want all their transactions and information public on a public blockchain. So, we talked about private ledgers, federated sidechains, though, just another iteration of that. And also note down here, guys, federated sidechains could use XRP as their primary asset. And I think that is the big thing that concerns a lot of XRP hodlers. The more XRP is utilized means that it is in more demand, and therefore the more demand surrounding XRP means ultimately that the price will go up. Let's not forget there's a finite supply of XRP, and it's continuously being burned as transactions go through the XRPL. So some great information here with regards to interoperability. I also wanted to mention this tweet, guys, from Stefan Huber here on Twitter. Interoperability is the critical piece that Bitcoin maximalists will never understand. Even the most hardcore XRP supporters understand the relevance of interoperability. Bitcoin maxis, on the other hand, And, well, you know, they completely negate the need for interoperability, even more as they negate the raison d'etre of other cryptocurrencies and CBDCs. This fallacy will lead Bitcoin to become irrelevant. This fallacy of its supporters and their refusal to evolve will lead Bitcoin into irrelevance. And so Stefan Huber here just posting this tweet, retweeting out this tweet from the Bank for International Settlements, what kinds of operational architectures could work for a CBDC, and how do a private and the public sector interact with them, some possible designs and their merits. So just another screen grab demonstrating in more detail how the BIS thinks CBDCs could work with regards to a blockchain in the public sphere, the private sphere. I mean, we are going to have all kinds of different possibilities in the future. I don't think it's going to be a one-size-fits-all. And, you know, again, interoperability, the name of the game here. Well, who else, guys, is touting interoperability? None other than the World Economic Forum. And so I wanted to mention this article from CoinDesk. World Economic Forum hopes to explain DeFi for regulators with the white paper. So they have just issued a white paper, and it is linked down here in this article. I will bring it up here, guys, and I will link it in the description of this video if you want. You can download the PDF here. But let's see ultimately what they had to say. Some of the takeaways here: decentralized finance is promising, but poses novel risks to the financial sector and its own users, a new World Economic Forum white paper said. The white paper, published early Tuesday, is meant to act as a toolkit to inform policymakers about different aspects of the relatively young subsector with the broader crypto ecosystem. The WEF does not intend to recommend specific policy actions for regulators. However, the document said it is more focused on describing what issues DeFi may address, as well as draw attention to certain areas on which regulators may need to catch up. And here's a quote from the paper: DeFi will raise further questions about whether regulators have the proper tools to address evolving market activity and how they can assert jurisdiction over a set of technologies and stakeholders that is intrinsically borderless and global. Even this statement here, okay, technologies and stakeholders that are intrinsically borderless and global, what does that mean? Ultimately, every country is going to have their own set of rules, and if we are creating a financial ecosystem where there is going to be more decentralized finance, borderless, global finance, that means that blockchains have to be able to communicate with one another, which ultimately just leads back to the theme: interoperability. The WEF is the latest intergovernmental entity to address DeFi after the Financial Action Task Force, an international money laundering watchdog, published proposed regulatory guidance around DeFi earlier this year. Regulators are increasingly paying attention to the space, particularly amid the recent crypto bull market. Let me continue down here. What is clear is that DeFi represents a distinct and potentially significant development, both within the landscape of blockchain and of financial services more generally. In a statement, WEF Executive Committee member Sheila Warren said that this is a critical time for DeFi, noting the recent growth in the sector. Now remember who Sheila Warren is, guys. Executive Committee member of the WEF. Let's also not forget that she was a keynote speaker at Ripple's Swell 2020, where she talked to Ripple's Monica Long about mass adoption of cryptocurrency and the progress we're trying to make towards that. So yes, a Ripple and World Economic Forum connection. I mentioned this in previous videos, but I thought it's important to note. Another website that I love bringing up is the World Economic Forum's own website, and a subpage just highlighting Ripple. So you think the World Economic Forum has thought about this, has thought about interoperability? Of course they have. You know, it's no coincidence that David Schwartz is introducing this idea of federated sidechains, or even a private ledger that can run on the XRPL. I think it's very apparent that interoperability is definitely going to be part of what will be quintessential for these markets to work. And so it's a positive thing, guys, for XRP hodlers that Ripple has already been doing this, been doing it since day one. The future is looking bright for interoperability, for more demand to run through the XRPL, which ultimately means if XRP is utilized in a traditional sense, or even on these federated sidechains, demand will go up and XRP price will go higher. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.